Yeah, I'm just
Okay,
waiting until we're actually live.
It says live. We're streaming.
Live.
You see
Streaming.
us, Sheila?
How's my beard?
Not
look?
yet. Not yet.
Quite full, Gandalf.
Yeah, the glue's almost dry.
Steven is in the waiting room, by the way.
Oh, great.
Okay, it says we're streaming live, so here we go. We're gonna start the show.
Okay.
Hey, Norwood.
Here we go.
What's up, brother Leland?
Don't see it.
Woohoo!
All right.
All right, here we go.
Listen to that fine Willie.
Ooh.
And welcome to the Rock and Talk Show. I'm the Moss Man. How's everybody
Good.
We have an amazing show tonight. We have some very special guests, and let me just go around the room and introduce everybody. We've got Sheila Conlon up here, at least in my upper left-hand corner. It might be different in yours. We got
Hello.
Scott Page, the one and only Scotty Page, Pink Floyd, Toto, and Supertramp. We got Stephen Perkins, Jane's Addiction, Porno for Pyros, Kenny Olson, Kid Rock, Twisted Brown Trucker Band, Norwood Fisher, the one and only Fishbone, Derek Day, the Art Bird. Derek Day, just that's all you got to say is Derek Day. And of course, back with us this week, special guest, we have Leland Sklar, who's played with virtually everybody on the planet. Thank you. Tonight we have a really cool show. Tonight there's a serious issue at hand, and that is thousands of independent concert venues across the country are in jeopardy of going away. And so we have a very special guest tonight that we're going to bring in actually right now. His name is Stephen Sternschein, and Stephen is the co-founder. He's on the board of directors, treasurer of NIVA, which is the National Independent Venue Association. And I'd like to welcome Stephen Sternschein into our group here.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Brother Steven. Yay.
Yay.
You're hero
Yes,
material,
of
buddy.
us.
You're hero material.
Stephen, you're on mute. Unmute your mic. We just did a little intro. Welcome to the show, Stephen. Thank you for joining us. How
Thank
you doing?
for having me. How are you?
You know, we're living the dream. It's COVID-19. 2020 and COVID-19. We're living the dream, right? It's pretty good.
I'd just
So
like to
we-
throw in real quick that this is really an important show today because, Stephen, thank you very much for coming on this show. This is such an important issue, and I've reached out to all my music friends, everybody to come on board. We have a major crisis here, and it isn't just our own industry that's having the problem. This is a societal issue. I mean, once this is about the venues are about ready to close up, I'm hearing all my friends getting ready to shut down. This has a massive impact on the music community, the entertainment community, not just the rock venues, but everything out there. And I'm really excited you're on the show, and we're here to try to figure out how we can help support what you're doing, Stephen. So I'm excited to have you on the show. I know we all are. Can you please kind of hip us to what's happened and what can we do and where are we at and what's
how
going to
did it
happen, my
start?
brother?
Yeah, how did it start?
How did NIVA start? Yeah, well, it's a good story, I think. We started out on a Zoom just like this with about 75 independent promoters and venues around the country. At the start of, it was right when, for me, like the dates kind of are all jumbled around, but it was right after South by Southwest announced that it was canceling. That was like the first wave of big event cancellations in the country. And my friend, Reverend Moose from Marauder, does this thing called Independent Venue Week every year. And so he kind of just put together a Zoom call with all the people who were involved with that, and brought a promoter from the United Kingdom. I can't remember who it was specifically, but basically he told everybody on this call, like, here's what's happening in Europe right now. It's going to start as a trickle, a couple of event cancellations. And within a few weeks, you guys are going to have no revenue, no jobs. We're all furloughed. We don't know what's going to happen. So I would tell you, like, he gave us the advice, start planning now for that. And it was extremely scary and sobering. And, what happened was we talked about what to do. And the thing that came out of that conversation, a number of us, Dana Frank from First Avenue. Oh, I think
You're good.
Sorry about that. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We had this conversation about needing to have a voice in Congress in order to make a case for why it was so important to take care of the clubs and the people who have been, curating and promoting and taking risks on developing artists for their careers, for their lives. And looking at the first round of federal, aid, there were all these, kind of obvious special interests that had gotten one thing or another for themselves. And the question was, why don't we have that? Why can't we go out and make a case for how important this is? So we decided to form an organization with the specific goal of creating an advocacy effort at the federal level to support our cause, to support our industry. And we were able to, there was like a little vote, and there were 5 of us that were elected to be on the board of the organization. Myself, Dana Frank from Minneapolis and First Avenue, Stephen Chilton from Arizona Rebel Lounge, Hal Real from World Cafe Live, and Justin Cantor from Le Poisson Rouge in New York. And we went around and we were able to find a little bit of money to basically hire some lobbyists who were very professional and expert in how to approach congressional representatives. And we developed a plan that included going around our communities, and basically there is a music venue in every congressional representative's district. And so what we did was we created an organization, a grassroots political movement, where we had a lobbying team in Washington knocking on doors of representatives. And then those doors sometimes opened, sometimes didn't, but they were always followed up by a group of music professionals in that congressional representative's district, explaining and contextualizing why our cause was important. And we have had a tremendous amount of success in getting that message across. And we really couldn't have done it without support of folks like yourself. Really, the biggest thing that's happened for us has been seeing artists around the country and around the world stand up and say that this was an important issue to them. Everyone from Dave Grohl to Billie Eilish. And I mean, the list is massive. There's like thousands of artists at this point who have, made a statement for us. And so we've been able to create, kind of a bipartisan bill called the Save Our Stages Act that, I guess at this point, we feel like if there is a relief package, hopefully it'll be in there, but there's a bigger issue than we can solve here today or at any point for the American people. And so kind of at the same time that we started doing that, those advocacy efforts, we began to work on building an emergency relief fund that privately, that would be able to do what the government should have done, I think, probably at the start, and created a need-based program for venues and promoters and folks like who are surrounding those stages to apply for and get some relief. So we've been starting to do some fundraising events, like we've seen the Grateful Dead and Fish and like there's just, I can't even list the number of artists that have done that sort of thing for us. But we're starting to feel like maybe we don't need to be saved by the government. Maybe we can save ourselves if we work together and focus on, this issue. So that's kind of how everything started back in the day. I think we're excited about the next few months. I have some exciting announcements and stuff that are coming soon that I think are going to be really positive. And I hope that have all of your support when we do that. And I'd love to talk more about the things that we can do right now. And I think we're already doing it, right? We're sitting here talking about this. Saving stages it's funny because it's not really about the stages, right? It's like the stage can be anywhere. What makes the stage special are the people that get on it and the people that are around it, and the communities that they represent and that they impact. And so it's really not just an issue for a person like myself who owns a club. It's an issue for the hundreds of thousands of people who are employed every day to run sound and lights and make sure that the experience that you as an artist have, reflects the quality and the level of artistry that you bring to the table. And, artists as well. We've done some studies, like something like $9-10 billion of revenue comes in that goes to artists from our stages. And for every dollar that people spend in a club, they're spending about $12 in the surrounding community, going to dinner, buying a record, buying a t-shirt. So it's an incredibly impactful piece of the local communities that, support the stages. And so when we talk about saving stages, really what we're talking about is saving the people behind the stages and on them.
Well, and the people that fill those venues to watch the people on the stages. It's it's a full circle. It's
Absolutely.
not there's that side of it too, which is really what it's what it's all about. It's the full circle.
I love the circle. I love that idea because I think whenever I think about impacts of the programs and the stuff that we're developing, I think of like a bullseye with a stage at the center, surrounded by the people who are on the stage, surrounded by the artists that perform on it, and then surrounded again by the fans and the audience who, participate in the moments that we love so much that we've been missing.
It's about every bar back, the people that come in and clean the club after everybody's gone. Like,
right.
Somebody's cleaning the toilet so it's nice the next day. Like everybody plays a role and impacts our experience.
Yeah.
I don't know about the toilets being nice in any club, but just saying.
We hope.
We hope they are. That's true.
Was that wishful thinking?
And also all the hope that those venues give young musicians and young comedians of what can be for what we got. My first gig ever at the Troubadour in 1983, I was 14, and that still is one of the most important gigs I've ever played. And I've done the Garden and I've done Reading, and I think about the Troubadour and how that really gave me the confidence to become, focused and disciplined for my craft. And so, you not only are supplying jobs and entertainment, but hope for young musicians. And
no question. That's like a major piece. Because I remember as growing up, to have the opportunity to play at the Troubadour with all those names, that thing is what was such a thing to strive for. Yeah. And when you got to actually do it, it was, the thing that really helped you, motivated you to keep you going. Right.
Exactly. You hear about the Marquee in London, the Troubadour in West LA, and there's clubs all around the world that are just, one day my band will play there and it'll change everything, and not only that you get big or small, it's confidence. It gives you confidence to keep working on your craft.
Yeah, it's an inspirational bucket list that you make.
Like the Troubadour is on the verge of folding.
Wow.
I think they've closed, it might be either the Blue Notes or the Billboard Lives in Tokyo or in Japan are going under. I mean, the thing is, as musicians really are kind of the soul of the society in terms of what is created there. And the only way you can hone your craft and get better is to play. And as venues disappear, I mean, the amount of venues that have disappeared just since the 60s when Hollywood was in its heyday and there was a club on every block. And all the things from the Troubadour to the Troubadour, the Hullabaloo, the Ash Grove, all these places, and so many have gone on. So you really have to protect the remaining ones that are out there. Otherwise, people can't hone their skills. They can't get better. The audience it needs this so bad, especially in times like these. People, when these clubs open up, there's going to be lines around the block for them because people are so desperate for it. Don't let them disappear. It's so critical. And like you said, the entire infrastructure beyond just the immediate band and and the club. Parking lots that are around the venues, the guys that work those. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that it's like tossing a rock into
scalpers, for God's sakes, right?
Yeah, but it's everything. I mean, it's such a deep pool.
Yeah, it's a big deal. There's no question. I mean, the ripple effect is insane. It's just it's crazy what it does and how many people it actually affects.
But I think it's critical.
Go ahead, Leland.
Yeah, I think the thing that's critical is I think like we're all right now preaching to the choir in these windows. The real thing is what can be done to facilitate moving this forward.
I heard I heard real quick that it was like John Cornyn and Amy Klobuchar bipartisan bill, right? Was it John Cornyn? One of those guys came together. So there's a bill that's out there, right? That's getting ready to go. Is that the bill? You guys put that together with them?
Yeah, that's right. So the Save Our Stages Act it's actually got, I think, about over 100 signatures from the House and something like 30 plus from the Senate already on both sides of the aisle. But, what we're asking for folks to do, I mean, Save Our Stages is literally going to our website, saveourstages.com, clicking on a link that takes 30 seconds to just enter your name and your email address. And then we send a letter to your representative. You can send whatever you want, but there's like a form letter that you can just send to all your representatives that lets them know that you care about live independent music and that the Save Our Stages Act, should be enacted.
So at this point, it would be really beneficial for all of us and as many people as we can talk to use whatever social media we have or anything and just get out and say, please do this. This is important, and just try to get people, get bodies.
Now, are there materials that can be sent out? Do you have stuff that we can use for sharing? Is that stuff in place?
Oh, yes. I have all of that, and I'm happy to send it to any one of y'all. And as well, it's on our, on our website, on saveourstages.com. It allows you to send the message to another person that, to ask them to help as well. And I think that, we've sent over 2 million messages to Congress in less than 3 months, which is almost unheard of from what we've been told. And I'm not a political expert or a lobbyist myself, so I got to rely on the experts in that respect, excuse me. But, to be able to have the kind of groundswell of support that's been happening is really, it makes me feel like I'm not alone. I think all of us, especially on that Zoom at the start of this, we all felt like, the world was burning and we had no help. We had nowhere to turn. And over the course of this couple of months, seeing folks stand up with us, it's the most important thing, for everyone to feel. I was just on a Zoom the other day with a new friend, Michael Swire, who he said most of us probably would have closed already if it wasn't for the work that we're doing and just the light at the end of the tunnel. Just the fact that there's some hope is helping all of us to hang on as long as we can, as opposed to just deciding, hey, forget it. Like we can't.
So, Stephen, I have a couple questions. I mean, it seems like it's such a crazy, daunting task. There's so many venues, and it just seems like such a big number. Like, how does a venue actually apply for support or relief, or what is that? What's the goal? What are we asking Congress to approve here?
Yeah.
So the SOS Act is actually very closely based on the Emergency Relief Fund that I mentioned earlier, which it's a simple set of guidelines basically that have to do with presenting music and community impact And, you know, there are some restrictions on the size of the company that can apply. Obviously, we all know that there's, you know, folks who we're focusing on small businesses that are independent, right? So if you're any kind of artist manager, artist agent, venue, theater, performing arts center, comedy club, all, you know, it's very inclusive. And, you know, the fund is intended to, you know, basically allow the same kind of process that the PPP or the EIDL loans, where you apply on the SBA website and, you know, get into a queue. That's the way that the act would work. It would be administered that way. Our private fund is a lot simpler. We have a partner, the Giving Back Fund, that's administrating the emergency relief effort. And those grants, you know, we're planning to be, I don't want to give a specific date because we haven't exactly set the specific date for when applications are going to open, but we've been, you know, kind of working behind the scenes to put enough dough together to start making relief available to clubs within the next 30 days.
Oh, that's good.
That's
Yeah, I was
great.
wondering how long you thought it was before you'd start seeing some money flow. So you're saying that
Yeah.
some of the money is coming through private things. You've got this bill getting ready to go into Congress and try to get that. So this is like a little bridge to help those guys get to that point till the actual money comes in. Is there any thinking on about like any more thinking about when things are going to open up for a while? Because to me, it seems like whatever's going to get opened up for a while is still going to be in a sort of limited kind of capacity. I don't think they're just going to say, hey, open the doors, start shoving 200 people in a 100-person room, right?
That's exactly right.
What is the thinking behind that? Because that's for us as Think, and our thing is we're really thinking about the new business models on how live venues tying to live stream, delivery, and all these things together. So I'm just curious to get an idea of what you're thinking is okay, we now got the relief, we can start to sort of open up. Is there any plan to, how do you deal with that, right? How are you going to deal with that?
So first of all, to go to your original point about the timing of the SOS Act, it hasn't been passed yet. Let's say it's passed in the end of September before election cycle really gets into swing. That's best case scenario.
Yeah.
Still going to take till the end of the year before we start seeing funds flowing in from that. So the emergency relief effort that's underway right now is exactly what you said. It's a bridge to keep people, you know, alive until the point comes that there is federal relief. And
how is that being financed?
Through the generosity of philanthropic individual companies, donations. I mean, like I said, we've been having, you know, folks like, you know, that are throwing shows, whether they're live streamed or drive-in concerts, that sort of thing. You know, they're all leveraging donation tools to help let people know and help them to donate. And we've again just started on that front, and things are getting more and more. You know, we're having more and more of success with that. But in terms of like, I thought the question about how do we actually reopen and what's the timeline is a really good one. I think the answer is that, one, people are already starting to do things depending on where they are. There's drive-in concerts happening.
Yep.
There's live streams. A lot of the venues that I know are kind of converting into soundstage studios to produce live stream content. And I think that's a really important part of how we can get through this. It's going to be it's a combination of like small revenue streams, relief from the government, relief from private sources, a little bit of dough that can come in from performing and live streaming kind of stuff, merchandise sales. We're trying to create, you know, really a stack of, you know, small, steady income streams that are enough to keep the costs at bay. Because what's really dangerous and what's really scary about a stage is that, you know, we're all fighting against the ticking time of how much rent we owe in back rent. So, you know, every month that we're not able to operate at full capacity, we're generating a larger and larger hole that we have to climb out of. So folks are looking at $500,000, $1 million minimum of deferred expenses on top of the continued obligation to spend, you know, tens of thousands of dollars a month, even without staff, just in order to consider maybe reopening sometime in the future.
And so, and just based on that, just based on what you're saying right there, like, what is the number? Like, what is that number that is the goal? How much?
$1 billion is the estimate of what it will take to keep the 2,800 venues that are in NIVA's network alive for 6 months.
And is that what's being asked of Congress to be appropriated, or is there a number that's actually being asked? And
yes, so Congress is looking at the SOS Act, and is specifically a $10 billion program. And it's bigger because it's a lot wider than our specific emergency relief effort, because it includes, a much broader swath of industry actors. And I think the way to frame that, $1 billion number, because it sounds really scary, is that we're generating, $10 billion in direct economic impact to the independent music community every year. Not to mention, I said, $12 for every dollar spent. So, to spend $1 billion to protect tens of billions of dollars of economic impact seems like a pretty good. It seems like it's not a lot in that context.
It doesn't seem like a lot at all, honestly, in the big scheme of things. And on the federal level, it doesn't, it's a lot, but compared to a lot of other things, it's nothing on the federal level.
Well,
that's right.
It's nothing, but we've already just spent $4 trillion, right? We're still going, right? So it's getting deep everywhere, right?
Nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Another way to look at it, though, that I think is really helpful is that every $10,000 that we raise saves a venue for a month. So
it's 10,000.
Right. So
that's great.
If you think about it, I mean, that's an average. Like, there are venues, obviously, that or organizations that have much higher rent obligations, but overall, on average, it's about 10 grand a month to keep a venue alive in the most basic way. And so when we think about the impact that the donations that are coming in are having, we did this detour thing a few weeks ago. I don't know if you all saw that with Robbie Krieger and whatnot. I mean, that saved 6 venues for a month, and like, it may not seem like a lot, but, if we all as a community come together and are able to continue to do shows and benefits, and find every which way to bring in a little bit of revenue, baby steps, like, we can piece it together and survive for the amount of time that we need to in order to get to a real solution.
I think you need to start and adopt a venue program, right? Where you think of the bands and everybody playing, because we got the bands, the places like the Mint and the Rainbow Whiskey, all these places, and I'm sure there's a bunch of us. And my mind goes to like, okay, well, to me, it's like, is there somebody that's really heading up the marketing strategy and the kind of the viral component of this? Because ideally, if you had the right type of thing, I could see where you need I keep thinking of the was the Ice Bucket Challenge. It had this viral coefficient. Yes. You had to do something, it passed it to somebody else. So with the right type of a program where we can enlist the community of musicians to like, let's adopt some kind of strategy where a group of people can help kind of adopt, maybe there's some kind of a strategy like that we can get people to do it. Because of me, it's like, it's like the rally cry. What's good about this for what we're trying to do is there's a real rally cry that we can get people behind, right? Because this is something that affects everybody. This isn't just to me, this is like a societal thing. I mean, just the thought of not being able to have live music and venues for the people that go to them and the families, I mean, it's crazy when you think what's going to happen. So it'd be really interesting to be able to come up with some kind of program that we could get all the musicians to start like, okay, here's adopt this venue. Let's try to figure something out, build something of creative that we can make it happen, make it happen. But but
we're working on exactly that, Scott.
Okay, good.
A team of people who are brilliant, and I'm incredibly grateful for their support. And we're concocting the perfect plan for how, on a scalable way we can deploy, that exact sort of thing. So I can't wait to talk more about that, anytime. And yeah, I mean, that's probably a whole 2 hour Zoom in and of itself. So
yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk about that because in a sense, what you're talking about is for us as a company, what we're really trying to do is reinvent what's the new model going forward, because it's going to be different. I don't care what
You
anybody
gotta
says.
come over to our group
It's-
at NIVA. We have a whole program that we've set up, an accelerator for technologists who want to look at the way to solve these problems and use our 2,800 members as a test bed.
Great. Well, we're going to have a conversation because we have some
Yeah.
ideas about this.
So
Yeah.
we have another special guest that we're going to bring into the mix here. Someone who's very close with all of us, but especially very close with Norwood Fisher. We've got the one and only the Dr. Mad Vibe himself,
shit.
Mr. Angelo Moore.
Oh, yeah.
Angelo!
Welcome to the
Whoa.
party, Mr. Angelo Moore. How you doing?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Connecting
Angelo,
audio.
Let's see if we can hear Angelo.
welcome to the show, Angelo.
Say, where are you, Angelo?
I don't think
see
you
him
can
on
see
the
us.
screen.
You're
Where
on.
is he?
I'm on, right? I'm on. Yeah. Okay, I'm here.
You are.
There he is.
How you doing, Angelo? Welcome.
All right,
You
man. Woo, right now I can exhale.
I just
Thanks
called
for
him.
making it.
Yeah, I
Were you
just called him
stuck in
Mr.
some
Pod. Yeah, he's Mr. Podcast today.
Yeah.
So Angelo, we're talking with Steven Sternschein over here, who I think you know and have known over the years, who's basically leading the Save Our Stages organization and concept and initiative of saving independent venues across the nation. And you've played in a few independent venues over your career, I'm sure. You got any that are special and how important it is to save them?
Well, man, I mean, it's so many of them. You know, it's just a blur by now. But I know that they've been a part of my life as a musician and an artist ever since 1980. You know, and so for the musician and the artist, man, it's really important to be able to have a stage to perform and express yourself to people that will give you feedback, right? And so we've been used to that for the majority of our lives as performers, right? Being able to get on the stage and to perform and express, and then getting feedback from the people that are there, right? But now that King Corona's here, King Corona, I always say King Corona is here roaming the earth seeking to devour and being quite successful at it, right? Unless he has his back turned or he's taking a nap, right? And that's when we do our streaming and stuff like that, right? So, you know, you got to have a lot of imagination to get in front of a camera and stream, because it ain't nobody there. And the stage is imaginary, right? And so imaginations are supposed to be endless, but even my imagination ran out after about a month after Corona hit. For about like right after Corona hit, I was like, oh shit, I got to start streaming. I got to do something, because people keep asking me, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? What are you going to do? Right? I'm like, all right, I finally get to stream, right? So I'm streaming for about a month. And then all of a sudden, I just feel like I ran out of gas, because I'm just like, hold on. I miss being on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
I miss being on the stage where there's live interaction with people.
Yeah.
Right? And so I just started streaming and doing posts and stuff like that again, but it took me a while to pull myself out of the it's hard for me to imagine that there are people on the other side of the eye of the camera.
Well,
you know, you know, you got to imagine, you have to use your imagination for a lot of that to continue and do your art authentically. And it takes a lot of acting too, you know? So when you run out of that and you ain't got no stage to be on, I'm like, oh my God, what the hell are we supposed to do now? You know, is what I keep.
You know, I've seen Fishbone on stage many, many times. And when you leave the concert, you're inspired by what just happened on the stage.
Yep.
You want to go home and be creative.
Yeah, Steve Perkins. Yeah, what's up, man? Okay.
You want to make love, man. You want to make love, not war after a show. You go home and you feel like you're inspired. And you're right. You know, you want to send people home from the experience. You don't want to send the music to their home. You want them to come out and join the force.
That's right.
And
no one feel the force. Exactly.
Yeah, no one knows how to rip up the stage like Fishbone. We know that.
Yeah,
we know that, man.
No question.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things,
And we got to play. Actually, we got to play once at the Ventura County Fairgrounds in the parking lot, concert for the cars.
With the car. So you did a drive-in show.
We did a drive-in show with Ozo Motley and the other group. I can't remember. God damn, man, I can't remember their name, but it was 3 acts.
Ray Fresco.
Who?
Ray Fresco.
Oh, Ray Fresco. Okay, yeah, right. Thanks, man. Yeah, so Ray Fresco was there, and so we got to play to the people in and outside of their cars and stuff like that, and I thought to myself, well, it's good. It's like a throwback, because everybody used to love to go to the drive-in, but don't people go, well, Angelo, ain't that weird? Wasn't it weird? I'm like, well, yeah, it was weird, but it was special, and it's the only thing we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
so sorry, I was going to say, Kenny. Yeah, we haven't heard Kenny and Derek. Tell us a little bit about what some of your experiences on some of these small stages.
I was going to say, beautiful thing about these small stages, you look forward to playing them your whole life. And I've been very blessed that I've been able to play all these venues around the world, not all of them, but a lot of them. And there's a history about them when you go there, which is like, you think about, wow, I'm playing on the same stage, especially as an upcoming musician. When you start playing these places, I remember when I was a kid and started opening up shows down at St. Andrews Hall, down in Detroit, and it's like, okay, we're opening up for all these bands that we're looking up to. And then you start playing all these different venues and you find all the bands that played there through the years, going back to the Beatles or Stones, to Howlin' Wolf, whoever, it's like all these, you go to these venues and you see all the names on the walls of the people who played there through the years. And it's that vibe about it, on top of the fact that, when you're playing to people, they are our muse. The word music comes from the word muse, and people in an audience. And in the independent, with the smaller venues, there's so much soul and vibe about them that gets taken away in that bigger corporate world, where you can't, like these newer bands don't have the opportunity to just go and hustle a gig and go open up for somebody that's big coming into town. When they come in and they're looking forward to, it's kind of without these venues, there's no outlet for that.
For me, it's really a big
substance.
Oh, sorry. For me, it's really about some of the mom and pop. Some of these shops are really, the vibe is different than going and doing a House of Blues. Just the way they treat the musicians and the whole vibe. It's so corporate. Like, there's just those ones that are like, they have a specific, it's that mom and pop shop thing. And that's one of my fears is, this is going to be there's no question, this is going to be the heyday for the big corporations that got the dollars.
Oh yeah. No, they're
pick up totally, all these businesses. And now we're going to get so corporate about everything, right?
We're talking about basically saving Main Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Straight out. It is
saving
Main Street, America.
Yep.
Every city, every town has venues that musicians play, bars, whatever.
Yeah. I've been able to
simply Main Street.
Through the years, even after, playing all the big venues, and big shows and festivals, you still look forward to going back and playing these places. I'm always constantly getting a hold of old friends and like, let's go over to so-and-so and have a reunion thing and play at these places. And it brings back memories. They're just part of history. It's like, you don't want to be thinking of all these great venues and seeing documentaries about them when they were open. You want to see documentaries how they've lasted through all this. Like Baker's Keyboard Lounge in Detroit is like the oldest running bar club establishment in the whole country. And it's in Detroit, and the last thing I want to hear about, are like Troubadour, these places that we've all have so much history at. Mm-hmm. And to hear them, even just the doors being shut for good, is a nightmare.
It's crazy.
Do you all remember go ahead, Lee.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to say, it's really akin to the heyday of studios in LA, and most of those studios are now strip malls and parking lots. I mean, all the great studios, there's only a handful of studios really left in LA, and there used to be one on every block that was a credible studio. And then suddenly landlords decided that, you know, they could make a whole lot more money if the thing was raised and made into a parking structure. And we've lost them, and they're never to come back. And if we lose these clubs, they're never going to come back. So this is like a do or die period, I think, for this industry. And if you're not proactive on it, we're suddenly going to look, and you're going to think about some club that you want, like La Ville and all these places that, you know, Charlie O's and all the places in LA that were around. And suddenly there, you know, there's something else. There's a flower shop now, or a taco.
I know. It's like, and then you got to ask these people who they replace it with a liquor store or a barber shop or a flower shop or some crazy shit. Then you gotta wonder. You want to ask them, what's your favorite dance when you were a kid? What's your favorite song when you were a kid? What's your favorite band? Now, see, if we can get to them and ask them these questions and bring them back to where they went to a club or their favorite dance, then they would remember that type of thing. Because a lot of these people, man, they do that. They forget what it's like. It's like the whole term, don't grow up, it's a trap. Well, they have grown up and now they are trapped, and that's why they can do something like that.
Well, you know, since we're talking about this, I think a really cool thing, or just memories, you know, let's lift it up. Does everybody have a special memory of a certain club, a small stage, a small venue, or the first time you played? You know, because I think too, for Steven, just hearing some of these names of these venues being thrown out and some great memories would be kind of fun, right?
Absolutely.
How about Derek?
You know what? I was having a conversation earlier today about the 40 watt in Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
And actually how important it was the first time Fishbone went to the 40 watt. Like, because it was kind of like the house that REM built, right? And it was a big deal in my mind, you know? And actually, because Athens itself was a big deal because it was a college town and college radio meant something.
Yeah.
So, you know, so if we like traveling across the country and hitting the 40 watt, you know, was a dope experience. It was
you know,
brilliant.
So, you know, what's interesting for me is I think about it just now is like the Mint is really what started Think.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which, so, I mean, when you think about it, that's where musicians go to meet other musicians, and bands form out of those events. It's like, because when Norwood, he called me up, they were doing a residency at the Mint. And he said, hey, we're doing this residency one of the nights, and we're doing a classic album every week, top to bottom. Well, one of the weeks we were going to do Wish You Were Here, right? So he called me up and said, hey, man, you want to come down and do the Floyd show with us? And that's where I met Perkins, right? And that's how this whole thing started. It all starts. And so the club is really a place where it's the watering hole for the musicians and people to get together. And that's where we've met. I mean, I now that I think about it, I mean, the club I was working at is how I got to Supertramp, because Bob Siebenberg, the drummer, was sitting in the back row, and he'd come in every week and have a beer, and I'd be there, and he called me up and talked to me. And the next thing I know, I got a gig. So it's really an important part of life for artists and musicians. It's crazy.
It's a culture, it's a scene that different historical venues create. It's, you know, there's so much.
I look at it like this. To me, you all are some of the closest friends in the world to me. Like, I consider you all some of my closest, most personal friends. And a lot of our relationship, forget music and everything, now we're talking about relationships, friends, lifestyle, are all thanks to a small venue and a club around music where we all met and we all talk and interact. And yes, there's that, you know, you just can't put put it all into sort of one sentence, how important the small venues are. And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not a musician, but I grew up as a dancer in Minnesota, and we used to have rehearsals at First Avenue for these corporate industrial shows we did. Well, for me being at First Avenue in a rehearsal, that is how I was able to dance with Prince on 5 of his cities for the 1999 tour. I mean, another, rehearsal space are used for some of these small places. For me, it was amazing. It was a great opportunity. If I wouldn't have been there, obviously I wouldn't have had that opportunity. But yeah, and there's just, like you said, so many memories, and we don't want to let those go.
And you
That
start.
was, well, I was gonna say back in the day
Go ahead,
too, like
Kenny.
when a band even would showcase for a label, even get a label deal. That was like
is that a small
getting a
club?
gig at that club, and you're following. You built your following that way, and the greatest bands, the biggest they are today. I mean, that's how we did it. That was rock and roll boot camp, as
You
as
know,
I knew it.
let me just say something real quick, because through this entire time, I just there's a I've actually, through this entire coronavirus reality, I've actually been very encouraged by the conversations that I've had with people that I've seen online that are just simply music lovers, that are not artists, that support us.
Oh,
And first off, just watching people comment about how badly they want to see a live band
Yeah.
in social media. Like, for what is trying to happen here, I think there's a vast amount of people who love music, who feel like music is their lives as observers and participants as dancers, right?
Yeah.
Like once you get on the dance floor, we're actually engaged, you know. So
There's courage.
so I think that there's a great, gigantic support system to that people want to be able to go out and party when all this is over. They want to have places to go, their favorite clubs. My favorite club to play is somebody's favorite club to go in their neighborhood and have a drink and watch a band.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's that social magnet, and you get together, and the music sometimes is just a backdrop. We're just the soundtrack to their good night.
Yep.
Meeting their friends and getting phone numbers and talking about what the big plans are for the weekend. It's the band is just playing, and the stage is our platform, but the dance floor and the bar stools is where they're hanging. It's they need that. You're absolutely right.
How about picking up girls and stuff?
I
Just the
know.
whole
It's like
idea of the social of that part of it, right? I mean, that's what
Now
people
you're
go to
talking,
hang
Scott.
and dance.
Now you're talking, Scotty.
Right? So I mean, that's the game, right? It's going to be that thing.
Yeah, that's
Without
where
it,
Prince
without
is
it, I mean, without it, if everything's online, it's like everything's going to turn into like a version of phone sex. It's like,
Derek, what small venues are your favorite? And here, like, where have you played?
Well, you guys all said it very, very best. I can't. I've gotten to play.
What's up, Derek?
What's up? Hey, Angelo Moore.
All right.
I got to play the stage with Angelo actually, like in small club in Hollywood, right on like Hollywood and something.
Yeah, where was that, man? Oh my God, I can't
It was like a
remember.
little hole in the wall. I think it was called it was like Bordners or something.
Oh,
It was really cool.
Borders.
Oh, right, yeah,
Oh,
Borders.
Borders.
That's right.
Borders is great.
Yeah.
And that
Yep.
was the first time like playing with Angelo. I was like playing Karma Cashback and all those awesome ass tunes, and like I was like, damn, like it was like life changing for me, and as well as like the whiskey. That was I was like 21 when I started playing there, and like jam nights, but with dudes that were like from Quiet Riot and like stuff, and I was like, whoa, and that it made me a better player, and it just like I started getting gigs from that. They're like, "Hey, I know this one guy," and then these guys from like Survivor were like, "Hey, we got a session here," and I was like, "Sure," and I was like, "Bam, bam, bam," and I like met you guys. And there's also like little clubs in downtown, like literally smelly clubs. One was called The Smell, And it was my favorite thing, and it was always having trouble staying open. I remember it was like there was always a petition, keep the smell alive, and it's just this big ugly garage right in an alleyway, and there's so much culture there. It was $5 every show, and it's just punk bands. I played there a couple times, and like it was just that's where I got like I don't know. I got in a fight with one of my girlfriends there. It was awesome. Like, cool. I'm gonna miss that. And I don't know. There's not much else to say. I just love hearing everyone speak.
You know, for the whiskey was I was in the house band in the 70s in the whiskey. Damn. And we used to open up for Chicago and all those bands. And I'll tell you, man, that was one of the most exciting times of my musical career, man. Opening for all those bands because everybody has gone through that place. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was like the place to play the whiskey. So to do that every week, being there in the house band, opening up for all those acts and being down in Hollywood in those days with all those things, that was like incredible experience for sure.
And you know what's great about playing these small places around the country is you put your reputation on the line. You come to a town, you advertise that you're coming, you get on stage, and people want to know what you got. And you know, you can talk all you want, but you got to walk the walk. You got to rock. And everybody on this Zoom screen leaves their blood and sweat on the stage. And it's about your reputation. And I don't want to live on what I did in 1991. I want to live on what I do now, what my show is. How did they feel when I got on stage tonight? And how did I make them feel? And so they can forget about 1991, what I used to do. What did I do today? And that's what I love about these venues, man. It brings the best out of the musician, and the audience members get a great show because of it. You have to live up to your potential or just go home, you know?
They're part of who we are. Badass. You know, it's like, even after playing like all these huge venues around, you know, like Madison Square Garden, Woodstock, whatever, Super Bowl, there's gigs that these smaller club gigs are the ones that stick out in my mind that I remember the most.
There's nothing like Tipitinas.
Tips. Now I know Galactic bought Tipitinas. Is that one of the great bands from New Orleans? I don't know how they're holding on, but I was really impressed that a band wanted to champion this club and make sure it kept on going. And I remember playing Tipitinas in '87, and Metallica was in the audience. I could remember that, and I'm thinking Lars is here. I'm gonna give it to Lars tonight. But so, you know, it was cool to know Galactic bought the club and was running it with partners. But you're just like any other club or a small venue. It takes a lot of work, and like you said, there's overhead. Even if the place is closed, you got to keep it open and safe and secure.
Yeah. Well, if you think about New Orleans right now with all the hassle, I mean, the stuff they've had on top of this, I can't even imagine, because I mean, if people haven't been to New Orleans and done that music scene and seen what's there, I mean, it's, you know, that is, as a musician, we always talk about knowledge, right? I mean, most of my favorite players came from that place, and to see the destruction that they've had with hurricanes and things and stuff, and now this into the clubs. I mean, have you heard anything, Stephen, about what's happening down in New Orleans? How are they holding up?
Absolutely. So Howie from the Howlin' Wolf is the precinct captain for New Orleans. And I remember getting on a Zoom real early on and everything with all the venue owners in New Orleans. And we've all been fighting super hard for Save Our Stages. I actually just spoke with the folks at TIP a few days ago, and we're working on things that are going to really help Tipitina stick around. And again, I can't wait to tell you guys more about that, but it's coming.
Great. Well, I have a question, because to me, I think what we're seeing happening right now is really changing user behavior in a totally different way. I think, you know, we've always known in being in the tech space that we were going to start moving to what we'll call hives. The idea is everything's moving into hives and groups, and we saw that, and we figured that was going to be about 5 years out, this Zoom call, this interactive stuff, you know, where we're actually virtual, but it's kind of fun at times. I'm finding I'm on the phone hanging out with 4 of my friends on Facebook. I'm watering the yard. Somebody else is doing stuff. And so this new behavior is starting to happen, and we've got these new business models that are starting to happen, and I think they actually can start really fitting into the venues. I don't think, you know, this isn't like, we're not going back to the way it was. I don't believe it's going to be that same thing anymore. I think it's
Better.
That ship has sailed. From my point of view, I think we're going to go back with a hybrid models of different kinds of ways of tying live together with the live streaming. I particularly believe that the next wave is the interactive aspect. Just so you know, Stephen, we just did a test where because we're building a new business model around the concept of a live venue in a COVID friendly world tied to a live streaming, but really how do we use the two-way aspect of it? And then the other thing is I can't hand you something through the screen, but I got delivery service that can actually bring something to you at the same time, right? So we've been doing testing and validating these models, and we went in and we shot a test where we went in and set up a full kind of a concert stage, LED walls, lights, the whole thing. And then we brought in 15 or 18 40-inch monitor, 80-inch monitors, surrounded the band, and then brought the entire audience in through Zoom. And they were like, 10, 15 feet away from us. And it was actually very interesting. The idea was to say, well, what does it feel like for the artist? It goes back to Angelo's thing. We need feedback to really play. It gets really hard to keep it up, so to speak, if you're not getting something or seeing that hot chick in the front row that you're noodling to or whatever that is that kind of inspires you to kind of make you want to do stuff, right? Trust me, it's like that audience is what gives you that, I got to get out there and put it out there, right? I mean, that's the trick. So we went and we did that, and it was actually fascinating because there was actually quite a bit of satisfaction in the sense that it was funny because now everybody is around us, but they're like in the front row. Because, when we play in these shows, you can see the first few rows, but then it kind of fades away and it goes. But everybody's in a square. They're completely around the band. They're listening to us. We're talking to them. And so it was fascinating that we could see that. And so I see the opportunity to take that, and now you start adding delivery service where you can bring a special thing in. So I see
powered by From the Earth.
There you go. So I see a hybrid model right now that's going to be helpful for the venues. And I think there's partnerships and things that can go down that can make this a very interesting. And in some ways, I think it's going to be, I personally am very excited about what's happening right now. For me, I've been a serial entrepreneur, and I see this as being one of the most exciting times as an entrepreneur that I've ever seen, because there's so many problems that have to be solved. I mean, this is like we got thrown problems, and you look at live and this stuff and the technologies, and we're really kind of merging, technology and live events, this two-way strip. You got VR, you got all these things. I mean, look at Burning Man is happening this weekend. It's a total virtual event. And I was watching it the other night. And it was fascinating. I ended up watching some people walking around the playa and all that. And it reminded me when I was actually there. And by the way, just a plug, Think is actually in this Burning Man this year. They're playing us in one of the deals from our Dome shows, right? So we've been really interested in kind of new innovative ways to create new experience, because we believe that the new model is really about an experience, right? You can't sell music anymore. So the live aspect was always, touring and everything was the piece that supplemented. Huh? What was that, Angelo?
I'm just saying that's so crazy when you said you can't sell music anymore.
You can't. It's no more. Where are you going to sell it? You can't download it. Can't buy it. I can stream it. But here's the problem. The streaming business is great for 2% of the Spotify catalog, because it's about $5,000 roughly, depending on, for 1 million streams. Well, roughly only 2 to 3% of the entire Spotify catalog has even reached 1 million streams. So the streaming business isn't the game anymore. You can't sell music. The only thing you can sell today as an artist is you have several things. One, the relationship and the lifestyle, because remember, we're a visual medium now. Everything is about, we're all in the media business now, right? It's that. And then the other thing is the experience. So artists have to start thinking about, well, what can we do? So now I start looking at the venues. I see the problem of the venue, and I'm saying, well, how do I bring technology in? How do I bring this experience to people in their homes to give them the live experience, to create ancillary revenues for everybody that's going to be happening? So I see partnerships of bringing in restaurants tied to venues that don't have food, because we got delivery service tied to a live stream from that show, but it's a two-way stream because it's interactive. But now, it's still a little tough, because the one-way stream is real easy. it's that two-way piece, even though we're doing this. But when you start trying to deliver music and a high-end experience, that's where the technology parts come together. But I think that there's going to be a very interesting mix of new experiences that are coming out of this. We're forcing it. I mean, the technology, I'm a technologist. All the people I talk to and the places that I am communicating with there's some serious tech coming on, boys. And it's about to get very interesting in this whole space. So now it's like, how do we create that combination? Because now we've got these great places that we can go play out of. How do we create a business model where we can make some real money, right, for everybody? Yeah. And I think that's part of what we're going to start seeing out of this new space.
Right. And I think, first of all, Stephen, what you started, and when we found out about it, I mean, thank you so much. I mean, seriously, to be able to start action and how you did it and the people that you have on board and the website you put together and the people you're helping. I mean, one in particular, one of my friends owns Flappers in Burbank, the comedy places you're helping, all these stages. Seriously, congratulations. And we're here to help you on every step of the way, whatever it is you need.
So let's talk about that. We were talking about all this stuff, but let's talk about action items and things that we might be able to do to see how we can take our community, reach out to our friends and figure out how we can create something to help out. So Stephen, you've been doing this. So you're talking about shows, you're talking about things. What is their initiatives? What would be the biggest help right now for you guys to kind of get step one?
Well, the biggest, so the simplest thing is creating content that we can use to spread our message. So, just us sitting here and talking about this, people can see that, people can hear that, people need to understand, like you said, we as an industry can sometimes be a little insular, but presenting something that expresses how critical these developing stages and artists are to the next generation of folks who are going to grow up listening to whatever they that's a message that needs to be out there.
Let me Stephen and Derek created some content already, like last night.
That's right.
They created some content. Are we
no, we're not ready. We're not yet, but we will share that at the end. Let's have Stephen. So you're saying the content we're creating, which we're going to do a little bit of that in a second before Derek and Stephen, but do you want to give us a shout out to go and sign the petition? Do you have a couple more of those things? And then we're going to create a little bit of our own content right here.
And so donations, can people donate? Where do they donate? How do they donate?
The call to action for advocacy is at saveourstages.com. Like I said, the emergency relief fund is at nivassoc.org/ERF. And I know that's like a mouthful, but it's nivassoc.org/ERF.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll post that on our sites, on the Rock and Talk Show website. We'll post that and we'll share it so that people can have a direct, easy link.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not, we're not, we appreciate any kind of help that anyone can give, whether it's a message or $1 or a song. It all helps. It's all really important. And, we're here. I mean, you're telling me thank you. I can't thank every single one of you enough for putting me in the position to make music my passion. Like, I'm here because of you guys, because I grew up listening to your music and being inspired to create and be around creators. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
No,
God bless.
I always remember what Jerry Garcia said as he flew into Woodstock. He said, "You don't get that many people in one place unless it's a battlefield." And look what music's done. But you know what? It is a battlefield. We have to battle. We have to union and become united as music lovers and musicians and artists and battle this problem.
Yeah, it's a battlefield now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, see,
it's a battlefield now because you got people that'll turn a club into a McDonald's or some shit like that, which isn't at the best. It's not at the best interest.
What I would say though too is in a lot of ways, the business model has been broken for a long time in this space. And I think this is going to help reevaluate new business models. They're going to work. They're going to even be more kind of beneficial for all of the people involved. Because, you know, when the clubs get squeezed, then the artists get squeezed, and it's just the squeeze thing, right? So I think that this is an opportunity. Again, like I said, I'm excited about what's happening. We just got to get over this hump. And then I think we're going to see new innovative ways for artists to make monies, for venues to stay alive and make it flourish, because their locations, people are going to want to go to watering holes. How can we create those experiences and make them go other places? Because remember, this hibernation, this cocooning thing is not going to go away. This is here to stay. People are going to be doing things at home. And they're not going to. So the venues are going to have to think about new ways to grow their business, but they have the venues, they have the community, they have things, they have restaurants attached to them. They've got other ways to go. We just got to all start thinking a little bit outside the box, look at what we can do to change it. So I keep going back to this. To me, I want to see, like, again, it's the ice bucket challenge. What is it, right? It's that thing that gets pushed around that says, I have to pass this to somebody else so that we can spread the word. If we had that tool that we could all just go, okay, hey, artists, take this thing and please push this out because it's going to cause something else. If we can think what that is, that will really help drive it, because we all talk about it. We need the one simple thing that we can all go do that can actually drive this and help this make that happen. And if we have that, I think we got a real shot. Right, well, not to say what you're doing isn't there. Okay. You may be doing all that. I just don't know what it is.
Let's start with this, because we're going to start with some content. So let's start. We're going to go around the room, and I need everybody to scream out, save our stages. Okay, we're going to start with that right now. So Moss, do you want to start?
Save our stages, baby.
Save our stages.
Save our stages.
Save our stages.
Wait, do that again, Angelo.
Save our stages.
Save our stages!
Save our stages.
Kenny? SOS. Save our stages.
Wait, we went at the same time. We went at the same time.
Sorry, Perkins, go again, then Kenny, then I'll wrap it up. Oh, no, we got Leland, too.
That's right. I was going to say SOS. Save our stages. SOS.
Save our, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah. SOS, save our stages. Man, you know what? One thing I wanted to say, but everybody was on a roll, you know, being able to go to the club, especially a small club, even though as musicians and artists, we would all like to graduate to the big arena, right? Mm-hmm. We would all like to do that ideally, right? But every time I talk about, or every time I hear people tell me, Angelo, I saw Fishbone at a small club and it was intimate and it was great. It was like, I felt it right firsthand. I didn't have to sit in the nosebleed seat. It was right there and I caught everything as it came to me. There was nothing in the way. So it's that intimate factor too. And as artists and musicians, man, and poets and prophets, we help people to get the equivalent of church. We help them get church, man. We help them come because they want to come and be healed and nourished by the music and the frequency and the lights and the sound that we are pushing and formulating for them to come and get healed. So when they're out doing their 9 to 5 or whatever, and they're dealing with the matrix and all the uncomfortabilities about it, they want to be able to come to the club and get healed and be set free and get their Holy Ghost and everything that they can get in the club, but they can't get when they're in the workforce.
Right.
You know,
that's great.
You know,
that's funny. And I think of all my favorite times. It's so funny when people say we did Pink Floyd. We were out, we did massive tour, biggest tour at the time. It was the biggest tour right there. But we had we called our band the Fishermen. So Floyd would call ourselves the Fishermans. And then after shows, we'd go play in a small club and the place would be jammed. They didn't know it was Pink Floyd, right? And we go in and we just play, it'd be all R&B and rock tunes. We wouldn't play any Floyd tunes. But those were the best gigs of that entire tour. They were so cool. You'd come in and people would know, and you'd see people that close, and I mean, there's nothing like it, man.
We still need wait. We still need Leland to do a Save Our Stage, and we need Kenny to do a Save Our Stage, and Sheila. So,
okay,
Kenny, you're up.
All right. Sending out an SOS. Save our stages.
Lee.
Save our stages.
Oh wait, I didn't see Lee though. Lee, can you do that again?
He did it.
I think I leaned up too far in mine. I might need to do mine again.
Save our stages.
There we go. That's good.
Okay.
Wait, let me do mine again. In honor of our electric church, the venues. Because like Angelo said, our church, they're like our electric churches around the world.
Okay.
Yeah, when you came in with the beard, I thought Santa Claus is gonna save our stage.
I'm gonna say sending out an SOS. Save our stages.
Wait, Kenny, do it one more time. I'm sorry, I had the wrong view. Hold on. Go.
Damn. Okay. Sending out an SOS. Save our stages.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Save our stages, please.
Nice.
All right.
Very nice.
We're pretty much down towards the end of our show here. Do we want what someone's gonna close us out? Are we gonna play? Should I play the song?
Yes, but we also one more little announcement. Please tune in for Trulio Disgracious on Saturday, September 5th. They have a tribute.
Who is that? Who is Trulio?
Norwood, tell us what you're doing. Tell us what it's about.
It's me and a shit ton of my friends that play music that are doing a live stream, and it's actually Monsters of Rock Cruises and Third Encore, and it's finally getting around to that tribute for my friend Jeff Papes, who passed away to COVID-19 complications. But we're also going to honor all of the Trulio Disgracious, the people that came through that passed away. We've never done that. And just
Where and when? How do people check it out, Norwood?
So you can go to Trulio Disgracious on Facebook and log on somehow there. I'm actually not technically adept, so
but that's what you do.
Bad with it. But yeah, Trulio Disgracious on Facebook. We'll have some hyperlinks up that'll get you right to it.
Sure.
And we'll have a tip jar and some items that people can buy. And
you're going to talk about saving the stages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Are we going out with something live, Derek?
Yeah.
You're gonna do this for
man,
us
I just wanted to
live,
say
or
to
should I
Steven.
just? What's that?
Stephen,
What up, dog?
man, the way your hair looks with your background, it looks like looks like you have on a constant moving shower cap. Yeah.
We also have 3 bass players here, right? Angelo, Norwood, and Steven.
Wow.
I don't know, Angelo. Do you play bass?
Yeah, I play bass saxophone.
Oh,
Saxophone or saxophone.
We got Leland Sklar. Leland Sklar
is what I meant. Right. I'm sorry, Angelo. Yes.
Hey, Leland, you look like, where are you?
Who?
I'm
It looks
just
like you're in an antique store or something.
I'm in an old bedroom in my house where I've got all my crap set up where I do my YouTube stuff.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
That's
The toilet's right here, so it's safe.
Okay,
I'm in a vagina created by Norton Wisdom.
That's awesome.
Vagina with teeth.
Oh my God. All right, we're running a little over. So let's have Derek close us out. Mr. Perkins and Derek Day.
Derek, are you prepared to close us out, or should I just play what you guys created?
I would ask you to just perhaps play it, but actually, I think I figured out. Tell me, can you hear this? I'm gonna play a second of it, and if you can, it might sound really good. Can you hear that? Just a little bit.
You can hear it, but not
Not clear.
Yeah. So Moss, you should
A
play
little
it.
faint.
Moss plays, you play it. Yes, yes. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, this is a piece that me and Derek did, and the lyrics are about SOS, Save Our Stages. Thanks for joining us, Stephen. You are a leader, and I'll follow you everywhere, man. I'll follow you anywhere.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the lyrics are: save our stages where music rages, comedy engages. Save our stages when we're out of our cages, where artists earn wages. Save our stages, petition on the pages. Save our stages. This is it. Check it out. This is Stephen Perkins and Derek Day. Original. They put it together like literally last night?
Well, you didn't have to say that.
This is our opus. We've been writing this for 10 years.
Bear with me. I'm finding it. Hold on. I had it lined up. Here we go. All right, here we go.
Wait.
It's shorter than I thought.
Can't hear it.
Now the drum solo.
That's a real punk rock version.
Start it over because it kind of is messing up. So hold on.
Pootie did it again.
Hold on. Here we go.
I think you need to be in a small club and practicing.
Save the stages where music rages in comedy engages. Save our stages when we're out of our cages. Where audience rages, petition on the pages. Save our stages.
Yeah, I think we need to be live somewhere on a stage.
What I heard sounded fucking awesome.
Okay, it's not working. But
It's
we
the
will
best
have
thing you
one.
know. It's absolutely the best thing you never heard.
Right.
It is.
Stephen, we will have a copy for you. Trust me, it's gonna look amazing. It sounds great, and thank you, you guys, for putting that together.
Yeah.
So the next thing we need to figure out is our technology, how we can actually get music through these live streams where it actually sounds decent.
You did good,
Yep.
Dave. You tried. It worked earlier.
It worked.
It did work earlier.
Yeah.
We ran it. I played it like 10 times earlier and it worked perfect. So
Yeah,
there you
the first set was great. The second set, something went wrong.
Well, I
Exactly.
know.
I just got the video. It's finished. That's
Yay!
what it looks like.
Oh, it is.
Oh shit.
Okay,
It's a little late now, but next
it's
time.
late, but we'll send it. We'll post it, and so Stephen, you can have that as well. I think Stephen's got to go. I think you're playing tonight, right, Stephen? You said you're jamming or something.
Yeah, I've got some folks waiting for me to get jamming.
Okay,
But-
So before we get out of here, I want to thank last week's guests, David Fishoff and Brittany Lightning from Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. They were amazing to have on, some incredible stories. I want to thank Leland Sklar. I want to thank Angelo Moore, and I want to thank Stephen Sternschein for joining us tonight on this
Yes,
very
thank
important
you.
discussion.
Yeah.
And I want to
guys.
invite everyone to check us out on Facebook at The Rock and Talk Show, Instagram at The Rock and Talk Show, rockandtalkshow.com. And 2 weeks from now, we're going to be back with another fun show, exciting show. And on that note, I think, I'm going to take us out. Here we go.
There we go.
And there you have it. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you.
Great
Thank